So my forward players are Jimmy Butler, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Paul George. Now I can go last because I know who I'm cutting. Uh, and I can make my decision pretty fast. But I can. I see Reagan kind of struggling over there, so I'm gonna hand it to Eddie. I'm
I mean,
gonna hand it to
I'm
Eddie.
struggling. I'm struggling
You
too.
want me
I'm
to go
just not,
first? You want me to go first?
as initial.
Eddie won't show you that he's struggling. I'm over here. Yeah, Eddie's just. You might
You want
need
me
to
to go
go
first?
first, man. Honestly,
All right.
maybe you
Yeah.
sway me because it's tough.
All right. So, I mean, you guys know who's my golden
I
egg
have a
here,
hunch.
right?
I have a hunch.
It's Bradley Beal, so he's for sure not out the door. The second guy that's for sure not out the door for me is a guy that is playing lights out right now, and his team started out. What was it? Was it 5-12 or 6-12 or what was it? The Miami Heat essentially started off with a bad record. Jimmy Butler got COVID-19. Was out for 12 games. His team really struggled, obviously, because he's the best player. And now, in the games that he's played, and he's back with the team, they're 15 or 16-6. And again, he's just the ultimate galvanizer of troops that usually you put that responsibility elsewhere on like a player like D Fish or role players like that who are mature, have been in the league for a long time, but he embodies that while also being the kind of superstar for your team. Superstar, maybe not in name and popularity, but definitely a guy who you can trust to give the mantle to be the best player on potentially a championship team. So that's a dude who I'm definitely not cutting. And then it's between Devin Booker and PG, and I'm gonna just be straightforward with it. I'm choosing Devin Booker. Obviously, he's the younger player, and we're not really doing projections right now. Is Paul George the better player right now with all the things that he can do on the offensive end? Maybe, but I mean, Devin Booker's right there. So maybe the biggest differentiator is on the defensive end. But I mean, honestly, I can fill those holes elsewhere on my team. And Devin Booker, I just feel like he really has, a potential to be something greater than Paul George. And I don't know, man. When it comes to PG, he used to be one of my favorite players, my favorite player, in fact. But it's just something with him that, it just makes me, if I'm a GM, I'd be weary of Paul George because of all the other players in the locker room not liking him, perhaps, and just disrupting team chemistry. I don't know what it is with Paul George. He just kind of bothers me now. So he's definitely out the door.
Reference, I forget which episode it was, but there was one episode where you just went ham on Paul George's existence as a person.
Yeah.
We
did
know how you
did
feel
all
about
that.
it.
You did all that just to come to the conclusion. It's like, oh, I don't really like Paul George, so that's why I'm not picking. Man, but this is tough. But I think I have my answer, and ultimately,
You go ahead, man.
I think it boils down to, we know that Jimmy Butler can be a number one on a team and take it to the championship or very close. We know that. I'm forgetting. I think we can all agree that Devin Booker looks like he's a number one player on like a championship team in the making. I'd say that Paul George, even though we might have never seen it, like, I think Paul George, can be a number one on a very good championship contending team.
You're not about to kick out Bradley Beal. Hell no.
Listen,
do
Bradley
this.
Beal.
This is the Bradley
Beal has
Beal
been.
podcast.
I'm walking out.
Hashtag free Bradley Beal. Don't do it.
I like Bradley Beal, but the ideal role for Bradley Beal in a winning system and a winning team is as like a number two, as like a superstar scorer that also serves as like a role player.
So is Jimmy Butler. Like Bradley Beal is not going to be the best player on a championship team. And as much as I love Jimmy Butler, he's not going to be the best player on a championship team either. At best, he'll be like like this
The best player
like
on a championship team runner
one
up.
one
I mean,
one
yeah,
B,
I've
one
seen it.
A. I don't know
See,
what people
the
say.
thing is,
You know?
our definitions of who can be the best player on a championship team is so skewed because of LeBron. Because like if we weren't playing in the LeBron era, there would be a lot of players that could be the best player on the championship team. But now there's only about one or two in the league. So but just in my opinion, we've seen Bradley Beal be absolutely dominant the last couple of years as the singular focal point of offense. And he's really good at scoring, but he's also a volume scorer, and his sort of role can be optimized if he's more of like a 1B/2 on a team. Like if he played as a number 2 behind Steph on the Warriors, just throwing this out there again.
Would you not
Um,
say the same about Devin Booker?
I feel like
No,
Devin
I wouldn't
Booker's
say that.
scoring prowess plus his ability to play make now gives him like I think he can be a 1 in the future on a team. I just don't know about Bradley Beal given what
But
we've seen the last couple years.
talking about being really skewed. Look, the only guy who's on a bad team here is Bradley Beal. You can't judge his record.
That's
His
true.
team is atrocious. I mean, every
But
other
just
every
him
other
as
guy
a-
has every
Hey,
other guy
Russell
has an
Westbrook dropped
all-star
a
on their
triple
team.
double the other night. Russell Westbrook dropped a triple double the other night. Come on now.
No, I mean
But I would
every
just
other
say
guy
that-
on. Yeah, go ahead.
I think that Beal just looks better in a complementary role, not as like the
Yeah.
superstar.
I think that goes for every single guy on this list.
I don't know. I feel like Jimmy Butler and Devin Booker specifically is and can be in that role.
I mean, put all these guys next to LeBron. Put all these guys next to Steph. Put all these guys next to, I don't know,
Yeah, of course.
yeah, exactly. Like those are that's the best kind of role suited for them, in my opinion.
But I feel like it's specifically for Bradley Beal, where if he's like the pure number 1, like life gets kind of tough for him a little bit or for his team. But again, like we're all picking at needles or whatever the term is here. I don't think that's
Grasping
the right.
at straws.
Yeah, I was thinking of needle in a haystack. Anyways, I don't. Yeah.
So I guess I'm the tiebreaker here because it's not going to be Devin Booker and it's not going to be Jimmy Butler. That much is abundantly clear. Between Bradley Beal and Paul George, it's really tough for me because I have memories of Paul George fumbling the bag in playoff time. Right? So it's hard not to get past that. But I have zero memories of Bradley Beal in the playoffs in a significant, I haven't seen him in that light.
Wow.
I haven't seen him.
Bradley,
what?
I mean, he's not on a team like that.
He's right.
Put Bradley Beal.
That's to be said.
Bradley Beal in that situation, I promise you, they're not losing that series.
It likely doesn't go like that, right? So what I have to do is try to. I mean, it's really hard. It's really hard. And this is a player that has to go. I'm going to have to go Paul George, man. I'm going to have to go Paul George. I'm going to give Bradley Beal the benefit of the doubt of having not seen him in that context. I've seen Paul George in that context. I've seen the kind of ambivalence that his teammates have had about him at times, or that it's been leaked about in that Clippers locker room. I've seen, how he's carried himself in certain situations. No indictment on Paul George as an individual, but, I mean, hell, even Bradley Beal, like he had that one instance where he was kind of like really poor body language on the court, though.
But like,
are we forgetting that Paul George?
Like Paul George was the second best player in an NBA season for, a given season.
What happened to him now? So him with Kawhi should win like almost every year then.
Well, that he unfortunately has to play next to Kawhi, which takes away.
I mean, it's unfortunate that he has to hit the side of the backboard in a crucial Game 7.
Okay, and we're here. We all knew it would come to this. I'm gonna have to say Paul George, but it's so close that like that could go either way. I'm gonna give the slight edge to because if we were going like who do I like watching more? Probably Paul George when he's really cooking, but Paul George is a lot more
mean,
volatile. I think that's
I
what
mean,
it boils down to. Paul George is more volatile than Bradley Beal.
I mean, the thing for me is that one of these guys said that 33-year-old Russell Westbrook was the best teammate he's ever had. That's pretty sad, and that's pretty sad.
Yeah, he dropped a triple double. So what's the problem? I don't see lies there.